There is a war inside the White House. It is a civil war that's going on. Now, the Daily Beast had reported that fighting between Jared Kushner and Steve Bannon has been reportedly nonstop in recent weeks, coming to a head. Now, this is according to sources inside the White House who spoke on the condition of anonymity. So very, very interesting here. Now, the senior official said, quote, "It's been an open secret that Bannon and Kushner often clash face to face." So this isn't just people talking behind each other's backs. No, this is Bannon and Kushner often coming to a head, which is very, very interesting and pretty disastrous. And is one of the reasons that this White House, of course, has been absolutely in chaos since Donald Trump even took office. Now, people obviously will often have professional disagreements, right? And again, this White House, as I just mentioned, very dysfunctional. And I've often called this unsustainable. The way that this is going is unsustainable. So how bad has it gotten? Well, one official said Bannon has lately complained about Kushner trying to, quote, shiv him and push him out the door. Oh boy. He also likened him to a fifth column in the White House. Now, you might be like, wait a minute, what's a fifth column? Well, I'm unfamiliar with that term. Well, let me explain. A fifth column is essentially any group of people who undermine a larger group from within, usually in favor of an enemy group or nation. So that's how Bannon reportedly sees Jared Kushner and the people that are aligned with Kushner. That includes also Ivanka Trump. Oh no. So that is your fifth column. Not good. I mean, look at the framing. You're an enemy. You're an enemy to us. You're an enemy to the nation. You're an enemy to my worldview. Well, that's pretty bad. That's actually really bad. Not only that, but the administration official told the Daily Beast, quote, "Steve recently vented to us about Jared being a globalist and a cuck." He actually said cuck, as in cuck-servative, the administration official told the Daily Beast. Wow. Now, cuck, again, you hear this word, right? It's getting thrown around a lot online. It's getting thrown around a lot on conservative forums, especially, I mean, in Breitbart. Okay, but what is a cuck? Well, cuck basically means that you're a weak person. You're a beta male. Somebody who doesn't stand up for so-called conservative principles. Used in the cuck-servative kind of framing. Now, this, of course, is derived from the word cuckold, which basically is somebody who allows their wives to be fucked by other dudes. And to add a racist element to it, which often gets used in the context of the far right, usually that cuckold is being cuckolded by a black male. So, white guy watching his wife get fucked by a black guy. And that is a huge insult because, again, these people are incredibly racist. So that's what's going on here. So that's why it's a favorite insult among Breitbart readers, because again, there's that racist angle into it. And look, there's a fetish in this. I don't care if people like getting cuckolded. That's fine. Do you, boo, right? But I'm just saying that in the context of conservatives and why this is getting used, well, again, there is a bit of a racist angle to it, and as well as a emasculation angle. So there it is. That's from what I understand. And again, this is a very complicated sort of, fetish, sort of inclination. Again, I'm just looking at it from one specific angle, from what I think the Republicans, these far-right people, are actually trying to use it as. And they're using it as an insult. So, again, like, I could take an entire show to try to explain what a cuckold is and all the different stages of cuckolding. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, now, the administration senior official continues. He says there's a big fight going on. It's all about policy. There's tension between them on trade, healthcare, immigration, taxes, terrorism, you name it. Now, of course, this is because Kushner and Bannon don't share a lot of similar policies or even the worldview. And I explained what the worldview of Steve Bannon was. And it was kind of distilled down to a book called the Camp of the Saints, which is a deeply racist book. So what we have is somebody who believes very, very racist things, that the entire Western world has to rise up against everyone else or they're going to be taken over. And they think, people like Bannon and people who read that book think that there's an invasion and that we have to stand up. We have to actually fight the others. All right, we have to be afraid of people that are immigrants, essentially. Now, Bannon, he's been described as a populist. He has some positions that are anti-free trade. I also have positions that are anti-free trade. So I was against TPP for certain reasons, that it would make essentially corporations more powerful than nation states. So there were some issues with some of our free trade deals. I'm in favor of fair trade. I don't think Bannon's even close to that. I think Bannon is no trade. But again, I'm not necessarily 100% sure on that. So anyway, on foreign policy, again, Bannon, not an interventionist. I am not an interventionist as well. And neither are a lot of progressives, and neither are a lot of the alt-right, so-called alt-right, who are actually incredibly angry at Donald Trump going after Syria. So, and doing that attack. So, Bannon, as you can see, the fact that there are even worse strikes on Syria means that Bannon seems to be losing some influence with the administration. And Kushner is actually getting some more influence with the administration. So there you go. Now, there's another sticking point, of course, was the inclusion of Zeke Emanuel in the healthcare discussions during the Trump care debate. Now, for instance, the aide said Emanuel has had 3 White House meetings, including one with Donald Trump. Now, in 2009, conservatives called Emanuel Dr. Death for advocating for end-of-life consultations during the crafting of the Affordable Care Act. Now, also, Emanuel happens to be the brother of Rahm Emanuel. So, Kushner, is, of course, says, no, let's include this Emanuel, Zeke Emanuel, into our discussions of healthcare. Bannon says, absolutely not. We do not want this guy involved. Well, we see who's won out on that. Now, just on that issue for a second here. Wait, so you're against people, you're advocating for freedom, right? Freedom. Well, shouldn't we then have the freedom to choose when we want to die? It's just a little bit of an off, a side sort of point, you know, as a little side note here. Shouldn't we be allowed to choose how we die and when we die if we have a terminal illness? How's that small government? How's that freedom? I don't understand. How dare you choose how and when to end your own life? No, the state must choose it for you. Why? Because we are for small government. Yeah, okay. Now, this and other policy positions pushed by Jared Kushner have Bannon absolutely raging. Again, Kushner is more interventionist, as well as some of the others on the NSC, the National Security Council, all the generals who can't wait to get into a war. And that's what we're looking at. Now, as for what Bannon thinks about Kushner, quote, Steve thinks Jared is worse than a Democrat, basically. Another official close to Bannon said, Steve has a very specific vision for what he believes and what he shares ideologically with Trump. And he has for a long time now seen Jared as a major obstacle to achieving that. And again, I explained in a video earlier, a couple of weeks ago, exactly what Steve Bannon actually believes. And again, it's based on this book of the Camp of the Saints. Now, on Wednesday, Politico and the New York Times also reported that things had gotten so heated and tense that Bannon was even considering tendering his resignation. Now, Bannon, of course, went and told Politico, oh no, that is complete and total nonsense. What are you talking about? I would never leave. No. Well, what didn't get reported was an earlier story in Politico that noted that the Mercers, longtime ally of Bannon and one of Trump's biggest donors during the campaign, first giving Ted Cruz over $13 million before switching over to Donald Trump, actually intervened personally to convince Steve Bannon not to resign. This was Rebecca Mercer, right? The other half of the Mercer family, billionaires, very aligned ideologically to Breitbart, to Steve Bannon, basically said, no, Steve, you will not leave this position. Okay. Now, what did she say? Now, a GOP operative who spoke with Politico said Becca, referring to Rebecca Mercer, tried to convince him that this is a long-term play. You need to stay because my long-term plans involve you being in a position of power. Okay. Now, again, the Mercers very ideologically consistent with Bannon, even down to some of the racist stuff that he believes. Now, why was it important to her that Bannon stay? Well, the operative told Politico that if Bannon leaves the White House, Becca's access and influence shrinks dramatically. Now, from what we're seeing, that influence is already in peril. Now, for one, Kushner can't be fired. He's married to the one person that Donald Trump actually cares about more than anyone, and that would be his daughter, Ivanka Trump, who, by the way, hey, man, if that was not my daughter, I'd be dating her. That's how much he cares about Ivanka. Now, Kushner has also been reportedly expanding his reach and level of influence in Trump's core circle of advisors, while unfortunately Bannon seems to be losing it, again, after getting ousted from the NSC. Now, the Times also reported that Bannon's Svengali-style reputation has chafed on the president, who sees himself as the West Wing's only leading man. Now we go to Trump's ego. And that several associates with said the president had quietly expressed annoyance over the credit Mr. Bannon had received for setting up the agenda, and Mr. Trump was not pleased by the President Bannon Puppet Master theme promoted by magazines, late-night talk shows, and Twitter. And not to mention the failing Saturday Night Live. The unfunny failing. I love the idea of this. Because Saturday Night Live, of course, making fun of Trump, Alec Baldwin, and basically casting Bannon as the puppet master to an infantile and ridiculous Trump. So, now Republicans close to the Trump told the Daily Beast confirmed this level of insecurity over Bannon's reputation coming for the president, and mentioned that the president was irked after catching a glimpse of a recent cold open on Saturday Night Live. He reportedly asked a confidant, quote, "Did you see this crap?" Nice. See, look at this child. Well, the Bannon, why are they showing Bannon? He's not my puppet master. I'm the president. He's not the president. I'm mad at SNL, which I totally don't watch anymore because it's a disaster and it's sad and failing. But I'm not in the limelight anymore. Sad. That's pure Donald Trump. How dare you steal my spotlight, baby? Sad. Ugh. And now, of course, there's going to be some fallout from this. You already have Bannon allies in the so-called alt-right, people like Jack Posobiec, by the way, basically outlining the sides in the coming internal war. Now, this weekend he tweeted out, Bannon's side, Conway, Sessions, Miller, Mnuchin. Jared's side, Ivanka, Ryan, Priebus, Spicer. So basically what you have are establishment Republicans versus members of the so-called alt-right, or the anti-establishment wing of the Republican Party. Now, you also have two very prominent Bannon allies, Roger Stone and Alex Jones, that are out there attacking Kushner, spreading weird conspiracy theories, like the recent InfoWars video, where Jared Kushner, is he the Illuminati? And also you had, of course, Roger Stone coming out there and saying this on Alex Jones' show. I got a video. Let's take a look at that.
The president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, perhaps the one presidential aide who cannot be fired, is now in irregular text message communications with Joe Scarborough. Many of the anti-Steve Bannon stories that you see, the themes that you see on Morning Joe, are being dictated by Kushner. And while Mr. Kushner's plate is very full with Middle Eastern peace and the China visit and so on, in this case, I think he is disserving the president.
So that's Roger Stone saying, oh my God, Kushner, he's got a direct line to Joe Scarborough. And that's why Joe Scarborough is attacking Donald Trump, attacking Steve Bannon. Full-on war, man. Full-on war. Look, you also had radio shouter Mark Levin saying, quote, Jared Kushner, Gary Cohn, Dina Powell, also big parts of the Trump administration, who are also, ironically, two Goldman Sachs appointees, Gary Cohn and Dina Powell. You had Mark Levin saying, quote, these three big government liberals were tightening their hold on the White House. Oh my God. You think these guys are liberals? You think Dina Powell and Gary Cohn are liberals? Hilarious. Though I guess if you're that far to the right, everybody looks like a liberal. Now, look, again, this is a war, okay? Look, at some point, even the Mercers are not going to be able to contain Steve Bannon and the rest of the so-called alt-right from going absolutely nuclear. I mean, look, Breitbart has already begun publishing anti-Jared Kushner hit pieces. And they're trying to bury a hatchet in the back of this guy. And if Trump fires Bannon, and it's already been warned by an ex-Breitbart, I think, staffer or writer or editor, that Breitbart's going to go to war against Trump. Oh, that's going to be a bloodbath, especially considering how he's more likely to fire Bannon than his own son-in-law. So, man, Breitbart, that whole situation is a powder keg, man. And if they hit Donald Trump, that's it. It's going to be a very, very interesting time. So, we'll see what happens if there's an actual civil war that erupts within the Trump camp. It's going to be, again, a very, very interesting couple of weeks. And we'll see what happens. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.